Welcome to the deep dive. Today, we're going exploring the world of cave diving.
Oh, exciting.
Yeah, it seems to pique a lot of your curiosity. You've shared this comprehensive cave diving manual with us, and it just, wow, packed with, like, insights and real-life stories, but, like, a huge emphasis on safety.
Yeah, it's got to be safe.
Right, so let's unpack this thing together and see what we can pull out of here.
Awesome. Can't wait.
Yeah, so I have to admit, when I was looking through it, that emphasis on safety really struck me.
For sure, yeah. As I was kind of glancing through it, I thought the same thing. You know, this isn't just your typical, like, open water dive.
No.
It's a whole nother level.
It takes it to a whole new level, for sure.
Yeah. And it reminds me of something Christina Zanato, who's a very well-renowned cave diver. She points out in the foreword that the ability to stay calm and focused underwater is just as vital as, like, any piece of equipment. When you're down there, you know, and you're navigating through those dark, you know, intricate passages, and you're just relying on a thin guideline to find your way back, you know that mental fortitude becomes your lifeline.
Yeah. Makes you wonder, like, what draws people to this, you know? Knowing the inherent risks.
Right.
What makes someone want to venture into these underwater labyrinths?
It's got to be the thrill of the unknown, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, I mean, you're going where most people will never, ever go.
Right.
So it's definitely exploring untouched environments, pushing your limits, and just experiencing a world that's hidden from most.
Yeah.
But the manual brings up a good point. This allure, it comes with a heavy responsibility.
Big time.
Yeah, cave diving, it demands that specialized training,
Right.
meticulous attention to detail, and above all, like, a deep respect for the cave environment.
Oh, yeah.
And you hit the nail on the head. The manual emphasizes that respect for the cave environment constantly. It's
Yeah.
not just about, you know, conquering the challenge. It's about preserving this very delicate ecosystem.
Yeah. Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah.
It's about recognizing we're just guests in this underwater world.
Now, you might think that all caves are kind of, you know, created equal, but this manual reveals, like, the surprising variety.
Actually.
It goes beyond, like, the typical limestone caves that you might imagine.
Right.
So you got solution caves formed by dissolving rock, like limestone.
Yeah.
And then you got lava caves that are shaped by volcanic activity.
Wow.
Can you imagine diving through tunnels created by molten lava?
That's insane.
Yeah. You also have sea caves sculpted by, like, the relentless power of waves crashing and pounding.
Right.
And glacier caves, which present a whole other set of challenges with the freezing temperatures and that unpredictable stability.
Wow. Glacier caves.
Yeah, I know. That's pretty intense. And then within these caves, you have, like, these fascinating formations like speleothem.
Yeah, the formations are unbelievable.
Right. Those are the stunning formations you see in pictures, the stalactites and stalagmites.
Right.
Those are all speleothems. Yeah. They're formed over centuries as minerals deposit, like, slowly from dripping water. It's like nature's art gallery hidden beneath the surface.
Yeah, cool.
The manual even mentions the Atlantida Tunnel, which is the world's longest submerged lava tube.
Oh, wow.
Talk about, like, an epic dive destination.
Yeah, that would be something else.
But before we, you know, get too far ahead of ourselves, we need to talk about the equipment that makes this kind of exploration even possible.
Yeah, what do you need?
I mean, you're definitely not grabbing your snorkel and flippers for this one.
No.
So the manual hammers home this concept of redundancy and reliability.
Right.
You're in an environment where your life depends on your equipment functioning flawlessly.
For sure.
So we're talking, like, top-of-the-line regulators, backplates, harnesses, wetsuits or dry suits, you know, depending on the water temperature, and, of course, lights.
Of course, yeah.
You're diving into darkness, so a reliable light source is just as important as your air supply.
Absolutely.
It's incredible how, like, every piece of equipment is chosen with, like, such care. The manual even goes into the debate between simple and complex fin strap systems.
Really?
I know, right?
Wow.
Because even a seemingly small detail like a fin strap, that can become a critical issue in a cave.
Yeah.
Remember, there's no quick ascent to the surface if something goes wrong.
Right.
Every single piece of equipment matters.
For sure.
So imagine you're, you know, deep inside a cave, you're surrounded by darkness. How do you find your way back out? And this is where the manual dives into, like, this critical world of navigation and communication.
Yeah.
It's fascinating how divers, like, navigate these underwater mazes.
Yeah, how do they do it?
So in the silent, often low visibility environment of a cave, Clear communication is absolutely essential.
Right.
Hand signals and like predetermined plans,
Right.
those become crucial tools. And then you have the line markers, which is like line, arrows, and cookies that act as a breadcrumb trail for these underwater explorers.
Oh, that's interesting. Line arrows and cookies.
Yeah. So line arrows, those are triangular markers that point toward the exit.
Okay.
And they're placed like strategically at key junctions. So they guide divers along the correct path.
I got it.
Cookies, on the other hand, are non-directional markers.
Okay.
They're used as reference points, helping divers keep track of their location within the cave system. So they provide like that sense of familiarity and they ensure that you're on the right track.
So it's kind of like I don't know, almost like a landmark or something like that?
Yeah, exactly. Like a point of reference. So you know, like, okay, I've been here before. I'm going the right way.
Right.
And then what about those jumps and gaps the manual mentioned?
Jumps and gaps. What are those?
I know they kind of sound like something out of a video game.
Right.
But imagine you come to this like vast open area with no clear path forward. That's where a jump comes in.
Okay.
It's a technique where divers use a separate reel
Okay.
to create this temporary guideline across this open space.
Oh, okay.
But they always connect it back to the permanent line on the other side.
God.
It's like creating a bridge across an underwater chasm.
Wow. That makes sense.
But the manual specifically warns against visual jumps.
Okay.
Why is that? So a visual jump is when you try to cross an open area without laying a guideline,
Okay.
and you're relying solely on your visibility to find the other side,
Right.
which is incredibly risky.
Yeah.
Visibility can change drastically in a cave.
Right.
You could easily become disoriented and lose your way. So installed jumps where you physically lay a guideline are always the safest option.
Yeah.
It's all about minimizing risk and ensuring a safe return to the surface.
Like safety first.
Yeah, for sure. It sounds like the dive leader plays a really crucial role in all of this.
Yeah.
Ensuring that the team stays on track, everybody understands the route.
Big responsibility.
Huge, huge responsibility.
Yes.
But before you even think about entering that water, the manual stresses the importance of something else.
Uh-oh. What's that?
Can you guess?
I don't know. I'm going to guess. Like checking your equipment. Making sure everything's good.
Oh, that's part of it, for sure. But I think it's the pre-dive planning.
Okay.
The manual, it emphasizes that over and over again.
Yeah, makes sense.
So pre-dive planning, it's like your lifeline in cave diving.
Right.
You meticulously consider everything.
Yeah.
The environmental conditions, your personal fitness,
Right.
your dive objectives,
Okay.
gas management, potential hazards. I mean, the manual even walks you through like real-world examples of gas management calculations.
Right.
Breaking it down like step by step.
That's helpful.
It's not just about having enough air to reach your goal. It's about having enough to safely return.
Right.
With reserves for emergencies.
Right. Yeah.
And this meticulousness, it extends beyond just the technical aspects.
Okay.
It involves physical and mental preparation as well.
That makes sense.
So you need to be in good physical shape to handle the demands of cave diving.
Yeah.
You also need to manage your stress effectively.
Right.
Be able to recognize the signs of potential problems like CO2 retention,
Okay.
which can lead to some dangerous situations underwater.
Of course. Yeah.
It's about knowing your limits and never pushing beyond them.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Now, we've talked about buoyancy control in, open water diving, but I have a feeling it's a whole different ball game in caves.
Oh, I bet it is. Yeah.
What do you think?
Well, I mean, you're in such a confined space. You don't want to be bumping into things and, stirring up the bottom.
Absolutely. Perfect buoyancy is essential in cave diving.
Right.
And it's not just about staying afloat.
Yeah.
It's about minimizing silt outs.
Right.
Conserving energy.
Right.
And protecting that delicate cave environment.
For sure.
Imagine, like, accidentally kicking up a cloud of silt with your fins.
Yeah.
Visibility could drop to 0 in an instant,
Absolutely.
making navigation nearly impossible.
Scary.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. It can be really dangerous.
So it's not just about moving efficiently, it's about moving with, like, minimal impact on your surroundings.
Yeah. Yeah. You've really got to have good control down there.
So the manual breaks down, like, all these different propulsion techniques and when to use them.
Oh, yeah.
So you have things like modified flutter kicks.
Okay.
Those are for, like, open areas.
Okay.
Modified frog kicks. Those are good for low ceilings.
Okay.
Shuffle kicks. Those are for tight spaces.
Okay.
Helicopter turns for precise maneuvering. I mean, there are even techniques for swimming with one leg in case of like a fin issue.
Wow, that's incredible.
Yeah. Yep.
I wouldn't even think of that.
So it's fascinating how every detail, like from fin kicks to breathing techniques, it's all considered in cave diving.
Makes sense.
And all this training and preparation is ultimately aimed at preventing accidents.
Of course, yeah.
Which, unfortunately, do happen.
Yeah, it happens.
The manual doesn't shy away from that reality.
Right.
It dedicates a significant portion to analyzing past incidents.
Okay.
Revealing the most common causes.
And what are those?
And, like, this recurring theme emerges human error.
Yeah. It always comes back to that. It's like we're the problem sometimes.
Yeah, we are. It's a sobering reminder that even experienced divers can make mistakes.
Absolutely, yeah.
We're talking about divers exceeding their training limits,
Right.
poor gas management, navigational errors, and just a failure to follow like those established safety procedures.
Right.
And the manual, it drives that point home with some real life examples.
Okay, yeah.
It talks about incidents like the fatality at Devil's Ear.
Oh, wow.
And the collapse at Madison Blue Springs.
Jeez.
And these stories, they serve as like powerful lessons.
Yeah.
Highlighting those consequences of even like seemingly minor errors in judgment.
Yeah.
So the Devil's Ear incident, that one is particularly chilling. A relatively inexperienced diver, he got separated from his buddy.
Oh.
Ended up lost in a maze of passages.
Oh, no.
And sadly, he ran out of air and drowned.
Oh, that's awful.
It underscores the importance of staying close to your buddy.
Yeah.
Sticking to the pre-dive plan.
Absolutely.
And the Madison Blue Springs incident where a partial collapse occurred.
Oh, Ryan.
Near this like critical navigation point.
Yeah.
It highlights the importance of knowing the cave system intimately.
Oh, yeah.
So 2 divers on open circuit scuba, they ended up exhausting their air supply.
Oh, jeez.
Trying to find their way out.
Yeah.
However, 2 divers on rebreathers who were more familiar with the cave were able to navigate safely back to the exit.
Wow, that's amazing that the rebreathers really made a difference there.
They did. It was a lifesaver in that situation.
Yeah, wow.
That's where, like, knowing the specific layout of a cave and having the right equipment,
Right.
it becomes, like, absolutely vital.
Yeah.
Those rebreathers, they essentially gave those divers the extra time that they needed to navigate that really tricky situation.
That's amazing. It's so interesting to think about, the different equipment and how that can play such a crucial role.
Yeah.
In a situation like that.
Absolutely.
I mean, rebreathers can be like a game changer in cave diving.
Yeah.
They provide like extended dive time.
Yeah.
Allowing for longer explorations.
Yeah.
And reducing the need for bulky stage cylinders.
Right, because you're not carrying as much gas with you.
Right.
The manual delves into the specifics of rebreather technology.
Okay.
Explaining those differences between closed circuit rebreathers,
Okay.
which are CCRs,
Okay.
and passive semi-closed rebreathers,
Okay.
which are PSCRs. I know there's a lot of acronyms in cave diving.
It gets a little confusing.
Yeah, it gets pretty technical.
Right.
But essentially CCRs, those recycle your exhaled breath. They scrub out the carbon dioxide and add oxygen as needed.
Right.
While PSCRs, those release a small amount of gas with each breath.
Okay.
And replenish it with a pre-mixed gas blend.
Okay.
So both systems, they have their pros and cons.
Of course, yeah.
The choice often comes down to personal preference, your dive objectives, and just the level of complexity that you're comfortable with as a diver.
Right.
But there's no doubt that rebreathers, they open up this whole new world of possibilities for underwater exploration.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, they allow you to go places and see things that you just wouldn't be able to otherwise.
Exactly. The manual even provides like calculations
Okay.
and examples to illustrate how PSCR gas consumption
Right.
compares to open circuit scuba. It's a different way of thinking about gas management
Right.
altogether.
Yeah, because you're not just checking your pressure gauge.
Right.
You're understanding the dynamics of gas exchange.
Yeah.
Within the rebreather loop.
Uh-huh.
And managing your breathing
Yeah.
accordingly.
Right.
It's a whole other dimension.
It is. It adds a whole new dimension
Yeah.
to the dive. And it brings us back to to that constant theme,
Right.
that need for specialized training,
Yeah.
knowledge in cave diving.
For sure.
You can't just, jump into this with your basic like open water certification.
No, definitely not.
Cave diving, it requires a different level of understanding.
Yeah.
A commitment to learning and honing your skills, not just for your own safety,
Right.
but for the preservation of these incredible underwater environments.
Yeah, that's an important point.
Speaking of which, the manual does a fantastic job of addressing like the psychological demands
Okay.
of cave diving.
Yeah.
It's not just about like physical strength and endurance.
Right.
It's also about mental fortitude.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on that?
Well, I mean, when you're deep inside a cave, you're surrounded by darkness, limited visibility. Your mind can start to play tricks on you.
Oh yeah.
Stress and anxiety can creep in.
Right.
And the manual introduces this concept of quitting syndrome,
Quitting syndrome.
which is basically, giving up hope
Yeah.
and succumbing to the stress of a survival situation.
Wow, that's a chilling thought.
It is.
It highlights the importance of mental resilience. The ability to stay calm and focused
Right.
under pressure.
Right. Yeah. You got to have your head in the game.
Absolutely.
Positive self-talk, problem-solving skills, and the ability to manage fear.
Right.
These are all like crucial tools
They are.
for cave divers.
Yeah. And then there's this fascinating concept of intuition.
Intuition.
The idea of trusting your gut feelings.
Okay.
The manual explores like the neurological basis for this, suggesting that our brains are constantly processing information,
Right.
even below like our conscious awareness.
Wow, that's interesting.
Yeah, it's like those times when you have this feeling that something isn't right,
Yeah.
even if you can't explain why.
Right.
Could it be that our subconscious minds are picking up on these subtle cues
Yeah,
that we're not consciously aware of?
that's possible.
And the manual, it shares some incredible anecdotes about divers who heeded those intuitive warnings
Okay.
and avoided like potentially dangerous situations.
Wow.
It's a reminder that we shouldn't dismiss those gut feelings.
Yeah, no.
They could be our internal guidance system
Right.
trying to keep us safe.
That makes sense.
It adds a whole other layer of complexity and intrigue
It does, yeah.
to the world of cave diving.
Absolutely.
So we've talked about the importance of respecting the cave environment, but how does that translate into like practical terms? What are the specific threats to these delicate ecosystems?
That's a good question. I'm curious to hear what the manual has to say about that.
Well, the manual, it highlights the particular challenges facing Floridian aquatic cave biology.
Okay.
It's home to this like diverse range of specialized species,
Yeah.
many of which are found like nowhere else
Right.
in the world.
Wow.
But these delicate ecosystems, they're under threat from pollution,
Yeah.
habitat destruction,
Of course.
and the introduction of invasive species.
Right.
So even seemingly unrelated actions above ground, like agricultural runoff or improper waste disposal, they can have this direct impact on the health of these underwater worlds.
Yeah, absolutely. Everything's connected.
Yeah.
What we do up here affects what happens down there.
It's a reminder that everything is interconnected.
Right.
We can't just focus on our own exploration.
Yeah.
And disregard like the impact that our actions have on the environment.
Right.
Responsible cave diving, it means recognizing that we are visitors in these delicate ecosystems and acting accordingly.
You got to be respectful.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So the manual, it specifically emphasizes the importance of avoiding contact with delicate formations.
Okay.
Minimizing silt disturbance,
Right.
properly disposing of any waste.
Of course.
It's about leaving no trace of
Yes.
our presence.
Leave it like you found it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And it's not just about the environment. It's about respecting fellow divers.
Right.
And the future of the sport.
Yeah.
The manual stresses the importance of mentorship
Right.
and continued education.
Absolutely.
It's a continuous learning process.
It is, for sure.
It encourages divers to seek out mentors,
Yeah.
learn from experienced instructors,
Right.
and continuously strive to improve their skills and knowledge.
Absolutely.
That's something that resonates with me in any field.
Yeah.
But especially in something as complex and potentially dangerous as cave diving.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
It's about recognizing that even like the most experienced divers can always learn something new.
Absolutely, yeah.
There's always room for improvement.
Right.
And that's what keeps the sport evolving
Yeah.
in a positive direction.
Keeps it safe.
The manual, it even goes like beyond the foundational aspects
Okay.
of cave diving.
Right.
It ventures into some specialty areas like fracture caves,
Fracture caves.
sump diving,
Sump diving.
mine diving.
Mine diving.
These are even more like specialized and challenging environments.
Oh, that's interesting.
Fracture caves, for example. Those are formed by cracks or fissures in the Earth's crust,
Okay.
and they often extend deep underground.
Right.
They can be incredibly disorienting.
I bet, yeah.
Imagine like diving through a narrow vertical crack
Yeah.
with no clear sense of up or down.
Yeah, that would be a little unnerving, I think.
Yeah.
Right.
I can see why specialized training and equipment would be like absolutely essential
Oh, for sure.
in that kind of environment.
Yeah.
What about sump diving?
Okay, sump diving. What is that?
That sounds intriguing.
Yeah.
Sump diving, it's like a hybrid of caving and diving.
Oh, okay.
It involves exploring flooded sections of caves
Right.
that are connected to dry passages.
Okay.
So you might swim through a flooded tunnel,
Okay.
then emerge into a dry chamber,
Okay.
only to submerge again into another watery passage.
Wow.
It requires adaptability,
Yeah.
specialized equipment, the ability to navigate seamlessly between those two worlds.
Wow, that sounds like a real challenge.
It is, and I imagine the potential for unexpected flooding.
Yeah.
That adds a whole other level of complexity and risk to the equation.
Right.
You really have to be on your toes.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Sump divers, they need to be prepared for sudden changes in water levels.
Yeah.
And have the skills to navigate safely in those rapidly changing conditions.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And finally, there's mine diving.
Mine diving.
What can you tell us about that?
I don't know much about that. I'm curious to hear what you have to say.
Well, mine diving is like exploring a submerged piece of industrial history.
Oh, wow.
You're diving into a man-made environment
Yeah.
filled with remnants of past mining operations.
Okay.
But those remnants, they can also pose hazards, right?
Oh, I'm sure.
You're dealing with potentially unstable structures,
Right.
sharp objects,
Debris.
Okay.
And often low visibility.
Yeah.
Mine diving, it requires meticulous planning,
Right.
information gathering,
Yeah.
and a keen eye for detail.
For sure.
You need to be aware of the potential dangers
Uh-huh.
and know how to navigate them safely.
Right. You got to know what you're doing down there.
Yeah, absolutely. It sounds like a very, very specialized type of cave diving,
It does.
requiring like a specific skill set
Yeah.
and mindset.
Yeah.
There's a sense of history and mystery
Right.
in mine diving as you're exploring this world that was once like bustling with human activity, but is now silent and submerged.
That's a really cool thought.
Yeah, it's fascinating how many different types of environments fall under this umbrella of cave diving.
Yeah. It's pretty amazing.
It's clearly a very, very diverse and multifaceted pursuit.
Absolutely. And it speaks to the adventurous spirit of human beings and our drive to explore the unknown.
Both above and below the surface.
Absolutely. But with that exploration comes a responsibility
Of course, yeah.
to protect these unique and fragile environments.
Yeah, absolutely. We got to be good stewards of the planet.
Absolutely. Cave diving isn't just about like personal challenge
Right.
and discovery.
Yeah.
It's about respecting and preserving
Yike.
these underwater worlds
That-
for future generations.
Yeah, that's a great point.
And that brings us back to the central theme of this manual,
Right.
responsible exploration.
Yeah.
It's about understanding that our actions have consequences
Uh-huh.
and that we have a duty to
Right.
protect
Right.
these fragile ecosystems.
You only get one planet.
Yeah.
You got to take care of it.
It's a message that resonates
Right.
far beyond like the world of cave diving.
Absolutely.
It's a message for all of us
Yeah.
in every aspect
That's
of
right.
our lives.
It really is.
This has been a truly insightful deep dive
It has.
into the world of cave diving.
I've learned a lot. Thank you for sharing all of this with me.
Yeah, absolutely. It's been amazing. We've covered so much ground already, from the allure of exploring these hidden underwater worlds to the importance of respecting their fragile ecosystems. But the manual doesn't stop there.
Yeah.
It also delves into some advanced techniques and equipment that really push the boundaries of exploration.
Oh, cool. Like what?
Well, for example, the manual talks about the increasing popularity of rebreathers
Rebreathers, yeah.
in the cave diving community.
I've heard of those, but I don't know much about them.
Yeah, the rebreather section really caught my eye too. It seems like they offer some significant advantages
Okay.
in cave environments.
Yeah, what's so good about them?
Well, primarily, rebreathers extend your dive time
Oh,
significantly.
so you can stay down longer.
Yeah, exactly. This is crucial in caves where explorations can take much longer
Right.
than open water dives.
Makes sense.
They also allow you to fine-tune your gas mixtures
Okay.
for optimal performance
Okay.
and safety,
Right.
which becomes even more important the deeper you go.
Makes sense, yeah.
So the manual breaks down the different types of rebreathers,
Okay.
like closed circuit rebreathers,
Right.
CCRs,
Okay.
and passive semi-closed rebreathers,
Right.
PSCRs.
PSCRs. Okay.
Now it gets pretty technical.
Yeah, a lot of acronyms to keep track of.
But essentially CCRs, those recycle your exhaled breath.
Okay.
They scrub out the carbon dioxide.
Right.
And add oxygen as needed.
Okay.
While PSCRs, those release a small amount of gas with each breath.
Okay.
And replenish it with a pre-mixed gas blend.
Right.
It's fascinating technology.
It is, yeah.
And both systems have their own pros and cons. The choice often comes down to like personal preference,
Right.
the type of diving you're doing, and how comfortable you are with more complex systems.
Right, yeah. You want to make sure you understand how to use it properly.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So the manual also delves into the specific calculations and conciliations for PSCR gas management,
Okay.
which seems like a whole other level of complexity
Right.
compared to open circuit scuba.
Yeah, I bet.
It's a different way of thinking about gas planning altogether.
Right.
With a rebreather, you're not just monitoring your pressure gauge.
Right.
You're constantly managing the gas exchange within the rebreather loop.
Right.
And adjusting your breathing patterns accordingly.
Okay.
And this all ties into the importance of buoyancy control,
Yeah.
which the manual emphasizes is even more critical
Okay.
when using rebreathers.
Yeah, why is that?
Because rebreathers don't release bubbles with
Right.
each breath. Your buoyancy becomes much more sensitive to even slight changes in your breathing rate or lung volume.
So you got to have really good control.
It requires a very fine-tuned level of control.
Yeah, for sure.
It's like mastering a whole new set of underwater movements.
Yeah, like learning to dive all over again almost.
Yeah.
It takes practice and a deep understanding of how the rebreather functions in different scenarios.
Absolutely.
But when you master it, it allows you to move through the water with incredible precision and minimal disturbance to the surroundings.
Exactly. Of course, with any new technology comes new safety considerations.
Right, of course.
The manual doesn't shy away from discussing those potential risks associated with rebreathers.
Yeah.
Especially in the challenging environment of a cave.
Right.
What are your thoughts on that?
Well, I mean, rebreathers are complex pieces of equipment.
Yeah.
And any malfunction can have serious consequences.
Yeah.
Especially in an overhead environment where you can't just bolt to the surface.
Right.
The manual stresses the importance of thorough pre-dive checks, having redundant systems in place, and knowing your emergency procedures inside and out.
Yeah, it's a reminder that while rebreathers can, enhance your exploration capabilities,
Right.
they also demand a heightened level of responsibility
Yeah.
and vigilance.
You got to be extra careful.
Absolutely. But let's move beyond the equipment for a moment
Okay.
and talk about navigation. The manual covers some advanced navigation techniques
Okay.
that are essential for exploring complex cave systems.
Yeah, what are those?
We're talking about strategies for managing multiple jumps and gaps,
Okay.
reversing large open areas where visual references might be limited or non-existent,
Right.
and even surveying and mapping unexplored passages. It's
Wow.
like taking underwater exploration to a whole new level of sophistication.
Yeah, it sounds pretty advanced.
It is. The manual introduces concepts like complex circuits,
Complex circuits. Okay.
where divers use multiple jumps
Right.
to create this continuous guideline
Okay.
through a series of interconnected passages.
Yeah.
It's like solving a three-dimensional puzzle underwater
Wow, that sounds challenging.
using line markers and reels
Right.
to create that safe path through the cave.
Right.
And then there's the challenge of traversing those large open areas
Yeah.
where you might not have any visual cues
Great.
to guide you.
So how do they do that?
That's where mastering compass navigation and distance estimation that becomes crucial.
Okay.
Divers use like specialized techniques
Right.
and equipment to maintain their bearings and make sure that they're heading in the right direction even
Yeah.
when surrounded by darkness.
Wow. It's incredible how cave divers are constantly pushing the boundaries of exploration
Yeah.
while maintaining that unwavering commitment to safety and responsibility.
It's a delicate balance.
It is.
And it requires a deep understanding of the environment, the equipment,
Right.
and most importantly, your own limitations.
For sure.
That's why the manual places such a strong emphasis on mentorship
Yeah.
and continued education
Right.
in cave diving.
Always be learning.
Always be learning. It stresses the importance of learning from more experienced divers.
Yeah.
Seeking out quality instruction
Really?
and always striving to improve your skills and knowledge.
Absolutely.
Cave diving is a journey
It is.
of continuous learning.
Yeah.
There's always something new to discover, a new skill to master, a new challenge to overcome, and that's what makes it such a rewarding
Yeah.
and enriching pursuit.
Well said.
And with that, we've reached the end of our deep dive into this captivating, challenging, and ever evolving world of cave diving.
It's been an amazing journey.
We've covered a lot of ground from the initial allure of venturing into these hidden underwater realms to the complex skills, the equipment, and the responsibilities involved in doing so safely and responsibly. If this deep dive has sparked your curiosity, I encourage you to delve deeper into the resources mentioned in the manual.
Yeah, definitely.
And perhaps even connect with some experienced cave divers in your area.
Yeah, that's a great idea. Find a mentor.
Absolutely.
Learn from the best.
Knowledge is power.
Absolutely.
And in the world of cave diving, knowledge is also the key to safety, responsible exploration, and ultimately a deeper appreciation for these awe-inspiring underwater environments.
Couldn't have said it better myself. It's been a pleasure exploring this with you.
Thank you for joining us on this adventure into the depths. Until next time, keep exploring, keep learning, and keep diving deep into the subjects that ignite your passion.